Ungela boneo shaving stick, he shaving beer, he rubbing powder, he look for mirror, he say he find past master, he take him motor key, he sit down for motor. Now him see 1.5 woman, he want to chase the woman, the lady run away, some monkey bless, jiggy, he begin pursue him, the lady cry for help, everybody come and help me, from monkey banana, everybody come and save me, from monkey banana, oh yeah, nyanga nyanga, oh yeah, nyanga, oh yeah, nyanga nyanga, oh yeah, nyanga, oh yeah, nyanga nyanga,
fie dunia kwakutu bata on fre on mane yentene kan come here say oni fia ya ka be maba ya fiase ayena akwantu ya manipa abo asesa ya fe wani mu afede ya baba ho adwin ntimi de bi kwa bo meyem be bia wo bi asesa no ma nsem ode sheba ene ma me kan asem sechi be ya oda enti se won sayem kwakuti anu meja ne ma wo prebo okwa chi ko pa aduane obesan be biem ka hunu se waja busha ofituo be presisi one omode yo wani pe to chi na bia so we chi
so kona sanye ya sai prefie se kulturania natural eco prefie enko sina hina ofie di fie so kona sanye ya sai prefie se kulturania natural eco
Going down. Every day, we hear the call by communities for companies to perform better social corporate responsibilities. Organizations have decried the ease of doing business in River State. For there to be development in the state, there must be a working relationship between organizations and communities.
These foreign companies come to Nigeria, devastate our environment, cut away our resources, and go and develop their own country.
Your premium talker radio will be provided a platform for organizations and communities to dialogue, as we will be gathering stakeholders from within and outside River State and the Niger Delta at large. The summit is tagged fostering better relations between host communities and organizations.
Like I said, we are suffering. We can't even fish. Also, we also want them
only on your premium talk radio, Today 95.1 FM.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
All right. Good evening to you. Welcome to Trending Stories. This wonderful, well, I say cold Sunday evening. I am Kalada, and I will be your host for the next 59 minutes thereabout. A lot of things to talk about. Oh my gosh. Um, I have here on my list of stories or list of headlines. The USSD proposed by telecommunication giant MTN on USSD. Or rather the tax on USSD has been opposed by the federal government. There's also the federal government saying that they are very close to collecting another loan, another loan of I think $3 billion thereabout. There's also the um okay. There's also the um petition by remember we talked about it on Saturday, and yes, it said if there is no petition they cannot investigate, and now Serap is giving them a petition for them to investigate what's it called now, for them to investigate the allocation of the slots in the FIRS that we also talked about on Saturday morning, and this is going to be interesting conversation. We also have the borders. The borders talk is not going anywhere soon. We have Ghana Trade Union calling for the boycott of Nigerian products as payback to government action. Of course, I predicted that, and I said that by the time our neighbors begin to avoid purchasing our own very products, then we would also find it counterproductive. I'm talking about the closure of the borders. But before I delve into all of that stuff, my main topic issue for tonight is about River State. 2 months ago, in the month of August, was it 2 months or 3 months ago? It's October, so September, August. Let's just say I think July, August, there about 2-3 months ago. I traveled to Delta State, and I saw Delta State for the first time. I was amazed. I mean, the roads were not as magnificent. I mean, when I say magnificent, they were just similar. I wouldn't say they were similar. They were not really magnificent, but
they were way better than majority of the roads that we have in Rivers State. I mean, the places I went to in Warri, for instance, was better than a lot of things that I saw in that I see in Port Harcourt. I mean, I didn't see the location junction situation. I didn't see the Nkwelu junction situation. I didn't see the Choba junction situation, the Choba road entirely situation. I mean, the roads were good. They were motorable. They were tad, and the roads were connecting. They had good roads network, and I was amazed. But you see, what amazed me most was the fact that this state had multiple developed towns. So there was Warri. At the time when I went, I mean, that's why I used the word war. So should I rephrase? There is Warri, there is Sapele, there is Asaba. There is come on, there's one other one. Is it I'm trying to remember. There's Sapele, Warri, Asaba, and one other one. I cannot remember, but I think there are about 4 developed towns in Delta State. And when I mean developed, I'm talking about towns that can actually compete with the capital. Of course, the capital will always be the finest because that is where concentration and focus usually rests. But then again, they have 3 other developed towns, and then I come back to River State, and I'm wondering, is it Mogoni that I'm gonna call? I mean, Mogoni isn't really doing badly, or is it my village that I'm gonna call? I mean, my village is also not doing very badly, but you know, when you talk about developing with the capital in terms of investments, in terms of basic infrastructures, one would really want to ask the question. I mean, how many jobs have been provided in these places? I mean, what is the condition of living in these other places that are not the capital in River State? That's one of the questions I want to ask tonight. You know, one of the questions I want to ask tonight. And so I traveled to Akwa Ibom State over the weekend. I mean, I was touring. I did tour a lot this weekend. And I went to Akwa Ibom State, Eket to be precise. And Eket is not the capital of Akwa Ibom State. Now, I can swear on my life that I can count the number of bad roads that are in Eket. Once again, Eket is not the capital. Now, the number of bad roads that are in Eket, I can dare say are federal roads. I can dare say are federal roads. I can dare say. And of course, I wonder why people who are from Akwa Ibom State live in their state, because I feel like their state is really developed. Yeah, maybe they still have issues, but really. And I'm not demarketing River State, by the way. I'm just telling you what I saw. The place, oh my, needs walking drainages. Oh my, roads that are tarred. I mean, I'm looking at River State and I'm looking for the road I can use to compare the road in, I mean, all the roads well tarred, not the type that they use to do location junction, the cement. Well tarred. I mean, proper job was done. Like I said, I can count the number of roads. All the internal roads were well tarred, not the one we have in Chuba. All the internal roads are all looking like they want to spoil your vehicle. Not the one we have in Alakaya. Nah. All the internal roads are tarred. All of them. And then I began to reason. Maybe the local government chairman is doing something wonderful. Maybe the governor. But then again, I realized that this is not a project that was just initiated. It is as a result of successive governments who have ruled Akwa Ibom State over time. Successive government. Yes, we all have that issue of say, oh, he stole money. Maybe they stole money. I don't know. I'm not the FCC. It's the FCC who will tell us if they did or not. But the truth is, whether they did or not, they were able to give their people the dividends of democracy, of governance, good roads. And I was able to talk to some. I'm very emotional about this because I'm from River State. I was able to talk to some of the Akwa Ibamites in Eket, and they were so peaceful and happy. And trust me, guy, there was nightlife. By 11 p.m., 12 a.m., people were walking without fear of anybody robbing their phones. Shops were open. Hey, hey. Now, to bust your bubbles, in Eket, I saw only one police checkpoint. I am not joking. And that one police checkpoint was on a federal road, the way out of the town. One police checkpoint. Hey, you think I'm joking now? I could call places in Port Harcourt right about now where the checkpoints are massively, checkpoints everywhere. Checkpoints everywhere. And the same thing I noticed in Delta State. I saw just one police checkpoint on the highway. Now, in Akwa Ibom, there was one or two police vehicles just lying there in case of an emergency, and then you radio them, and they come to the rescue. That was what I saw. Hey, well, ladies and gentlemen, if I may bust your bubbles, from Trailer Park, is that what they call it in on air, to the boundary between River State and Akwa Ibom, I counted 20 police checkpoints. 20 police checkpoints. From Choba Bridge to Imbiama Bridge, I once counted 18 or 19 checkpoints. And I'm not joking. Different kinds. In both situations, in the Trailer Park incident or the Choba Park incident, Choba Bridge incident, there was the police force that uses that Dangote, motor, that motor that was gifted to the police, that the complex and that white one. There was the Operation Sting, there was SARS, there was highway police, several. There were all kinds of units on the road. 20 of them, every 2 kilometers. Every 2 kilometers. And then while I was on the journey, I began to wonder, why are they even bringing toll gates? When these men clad in black and green uniforms are on a daily collecting toll gates from people, or tolls from people, I should say, tolls from people every day, morning, afternoon, night, under the rain, under the sun, these guys are out there. And we need security. But is that really security? Because of all the checkpoints, I can tell you that out of the 20, only 2 took out time to check, do proper checking of the vehicle. So what if we were carrying stuff? Only 2. And those 2 still collected money. I don't want to call names. I think I wrote down about 2 of their names, if I mentally, by the way. They were still collecting money. But what shocked me yet again is the fact that the young people in Akwa Ibom are peace-loving people. Of course, they belong to different people. In Akwa Ibom State, I think Akpabio is APC and Udom Imawa is PDP, so they still have the APC-PDP battle, but they are all about developing your state. But no, in River State, hey, don't say it. I am APC. Even inside the APC, there are factions. So say I am PDP. Even inside the PDP, you have who you are supporting. And because of your party affiliation, you bring it and then you hinder the development of our dear state. And see, it has nothing to do with the present administration. It has everything to do with all the administrations that have ruled since 1999. And the fact that we would not even think is what kills me. What does Akwa Ibom have? Oil. What does River State have? Oil. Why are they more developed? Why are we not? That's the question. I'm not saying, I'm not here to do who's better than who. I'm not here to compete. I'm not here to compare. But yeah, I'm actually here to compare, but in a good way. Because I cannot understand why we would not have internal roads. We would have potholes littering. Their schools are functioning. That is Eket, not Uyo. Eket. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm being too emotional and sentimental. I mean, I went to a new place for the first time, and so maybe I'm being overwhelmed. Maybe I stand to be corrected. Maybe you are in a place that is not Port Harcourt, a place that is not the state capital that is developed. Maybe you are there. You can tell me. You can call me and tell me. Oh, see, this place is very developed in River State. That is what I want to talk about tonight. You can call me and say, oh, in my community, we are very developed. Everything. We have good roads, good internal roads. We have working drainages. So we have. I mean, the environment is clean. There is no littering. There's no indiscriminate dumping of refuse. I mean, there is no dumping of refuse on the median. That is just Eket. Call me and tell me. But if you think that I mean, in Uyo, what am I saying? In Akwa Ibom, we have Uyo, we have Eket, we have Ikotekpene, we have Ikotobase, I believe. Those four towns are thriving individually. They're thriving. I mean, God, I don't know. Maybe some of you have gone there too many times and you feel like, oh, what is he talking about? I'm not seeing what he's saying. But I'm sorry, it's my first time there. And I feel like River State can do better. We can develop Awuda. We can develop Oguni. I mean, I passed Oguni. Oguni is big. Oguni could be. I mean, we could. I wonder why the boys wouldn't even go carry guns. I mean, that place is big. That place can be developed. And you see, a lot of the concentration that is on Port Harcourt and maybe Obiapo can be shifted to these places. Oguni is big. I mean, Oguni is big. there is the Kalabari Kingdom. There is Outer East and Outer West. I mean, we are so blessed that if we decide to diversify in terms of our governance focus or government focus, we'll realize that we might even be one of the best states or biggest states in Nigeria, because we would now be looking at. I mean, look at it. MO is big, Outer is big, whether east or west. HA day, hey, HA day. But then when you look at HA, the roads are bad in Igbo HA. In MOR, Rumodogo does not have roads. If I see, the truth is, I said, I can count the number of places. I think there are just about 2 places. One is a federal road, and okay, maybe 3 places. In Eket, Eket is not the capital. Anyways, that is one side. The development in River State is one side. Let's move on over to the next one. Yesterday in the morning, we talked about EFCC and Tinubu bullion van incident, the eve of the election, and a lot of you called in to defend and said that nobody has written a petition, so the EFCC cannot act. Now we also talked about me and Mr. Emmanuel Ndukwe, and of course you joined the conversation. We talked about how the FIRS decided to allocate slots to themselves, and it was causing a silent war in the Senate, because even inside the allocation that they have allocated to themselves, the principal officers had played a fast one on the rest of the Senate. And we told you that about one person got 26 slots out of the 100 slots, and it's causing a rift. It's causing a lot of issues in the Senate. Now the SERAP, the socio-economic and what they call themselves again, socio-economic rights and accountability project, has written to the EFCC to investigate, even the ICPC. But my question is, do you this is a very quick one. I'm wondering, do you see any action from these corruption institutions or these agencies that are instituted to fight corruption? Do you see them moving? Or do you want to agree with me, like I had said yesterday, that basically these people just like to focus on certain sides of society? I'm not going to call names now, so I don't paint them in a bad light. Do you think that like the accusations made by Sega Link, which we talked about yesterday, of course, is a continuation, that maybe the SEC is just all about people who are basically with no kind of immunity or relationship to the government in power. Mm, mm, mm. Because I'm looking at it. Sarah is saying, please, please go and investigate these people. But can they? Remember, the EFCC chairman is still acting, and if he's still acting, and he would need confirmation, then that would mean that he will not be able to start a war with the Senate, so to say. So, do you see the ICPC itself? I mean, not too long ago, we had them change their, what do you call it? The person who was heading their this thing, and the person was accused of their commission. The person was accused of, corruption himself, and that was because he had dared to investigate certain top-ranking officers, officials of government. People came out and say he had the high-handedness. That was was it Obonobla? Yeah, I think Obonobla. People came out and say he had high-handedness. He was corrupt. He was this, malappropriation of funds, and blah blah blah. So do you think any good thing can come out of this petition by Serap to ICPC and EFCC? I really would like to know, because um, I hate double standards. I hate double standards. Yes, one time EFCC is saying that we are mandated by the Constitution or the acts, the EFCC acts, to go after anybody who we feel is living above their means, or anybody who is involved in some financial inappropriate activity. But this is also an inappropriate activity, and this has to do with the Federal Internal Revenue Service. So I think it has to do with money, and of course it has to do with jobs. So maybe the FCC should, and the ICPC should is corruption. It's corruption, actually. It's an economic corruption. But do you see any good thing coming out of this? I mean, do you see the EFCC working? Do you see the ICPC working? That's another angle, another story I'd like us to look at this evening. I'm also looking at another one. Okay. I'm looking at, before I go into that one, let's look at this Ghana trade union calling for the boycott of Nigerian products as payback to government's action. Now, the move by the trade union is to force Nigerian government to open up its land borders for foreign goods. According to Ghana Web, Greater Accra Regional Secretary of GUTA, David Kwado Amuateng, on Adam FM's morning show, Dwaso in Sam Friday, said the Nigerian government has not been fair to foreign traders. In return, he expects the Ghana Trade Union and Ghana government to prevent Nigerian traders from bringing goods into Ghana, but that plea has fallen on deaf ears. Either somebody's bread has been buttered or we are cowards. Government is not being fed to us, he fumed. Mr. Amoteng cited how Dangote cement are taking over the market while local ones from Gasem are suffering. Interesting. So let's boycott Nigerian products as payback to the government's action. How can we be slaves in our country, he said. Mr. Amoteng argued that the issue, if not checked, could hamper the continental free trade area. Ghana's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration has appealed to Ghanaian traders to remain calm as it works with the Nigerian authorities to ease its ban on the exportation of non-traditional products. Now, some of you in the past weeks have argued that it's a good thing that we close our borders. I mean, now we would have to have abundant rice. Our rice will be there. We'll eat our rice. We'll export our rice and other commodities that you did mention. And I asked the question, are you forgetting that the other countries that you're talking about, that you want to export your things to, are also producing things and would want you to buy their things? But if you're not buying their things, then that would mean that at a time they would stop buying your things. And now these guys are coming out and they're saying, look at it. I mean, we produce cement, but we can't even use our own cement because Dangote cement is what is in the market all the time. And now, this is a question for all of you who have supported the land closure or the border closure, Um, so everything is, circulating, everything is in a cycle. Do you think that is sustainable? How long are we going to continue like this? And if this, for any reason, hampers all the trade treaties that we have been signatories to, what does it hold for Nigeria? Does it spell good or does it spell doom? And that's another story that we'll be looking on the show tonight. And then, of course, finally, not finally, actually, I think I've got two more stories. This one says the federal government has said that the World Bank has agreed to give Nigeria a $3 billion loan for the expansion of the transmission and distribution facilities of the power sector. Now, Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed made this known while addressing newsmen while speaking on the activities of Nigeria at the annual meetings of the International Monetary Fund (IMF) and World Bank Group in Washington. Do you think Nigeria is being sold? I mean, it's a question that we should ask. Do you think Nigeria is being sold? Do you think we are selling Nigeria? I mean, recently, I think in the month of May, thereabout, we were talking about how much our debts how dangerous our debts might be. You know, I think we are owing about 25, is it million or $1 billion now? I need to get my facts right. And now we are adding another $3 billion. $3 billion. Hmm. Okay, so we are owing about 25.7 trillion naira, and now we're about to add $3 billion. $3 billion. I mean, are we selling Nigeria off? Because it feels like it was just yesterday when Obasanjo, then president of Nigeria, went to France and certain other countries to plead, to beg for our debts to be forgiven. I mean, the debt that we incurred, you know, after several years of bad governance. It felt like it feels just yesterday. And now look at where we are. 25.7 trillion naira. And now we're about to borrow another sector, for a sector that has gulped about $16 billion since 1999. I'm not going to talk about the other years, since independence, but I'm just going to start from 1999. It's gulped about $16 billion. 16 billion. $16 billion. 16 billion dollars. And I'm wondering, when was the last time you had lights, as in power supply in your area? When was the last time? If you had it not too long ago, how consistent is that light or power supply? And yet, the funny thing, gas has been fled everywhere. Gas has been fled in Akwa Ibom. Gas has been fled in Bayelsa. Gas has been fled in River State. Gas has been fled in Delta State. I mean, I saw all of these things with my eye. I mean, in Akwa Ibom, in Eket, I saw in one location alone, I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 gas flares. In another location, I counted like in same Eket, I counted like another 3 gas flares. I mean, gas flaring all over the place. Gas flaring all over the place. And yeah, we don't have power supply. And I believe we could build a gas plant, and use it to power the various cities. But what do I know? What do I know? What do you make of this new development where the federal government is still trying to borrow some more money and they say they're trying to develop our power sector? But I'm saying our power sector has got $16 billion in the past, is it 20 years, in the past 20 years, and nothing to write home. Nothing to write home about. Nothing. And yet we want to put in another $3 billion. That will make it probably 19 billion, if I'm correct. Maybe it's even more. It could be 20 something billion. But nothing to write home about. Nothing to write home. So what do you make of it? What do you think of it? Do you think it's a welcome development? Do you think it's something that we should applaud and no, we're going to borrow some more money? I remember, of course, there's a deficit in the budget, of course, which I believe will also need us borrowing some more money. Okay. So do you think we are in the right place? Do you do you think we are in the right place? Sorry about that. I was trying to get my bed to work. And of course, the final one is the federal government coming out to say, "Hey, we did not ask anybody to increase any charge or put any charge on any USSD channel. I'm not putting any charge to access any banking for you to access any banking service." And this is coming from the CBN. And it is really, really funny how Nigerians can some taxes on the usage of the USSD, for banking services. And now the government is coming out to say there is nothing like that. Who do we believe? Because I'm feeling like maybe the government is trying to play fast one. Maybe the government is trying to retrace their steps because they have realized that Nigerians will not take this sleeping or lying down. They have realized that Nigerians will not have this. I mean, Nigerians will not have this any other way. I mean, it's too many issues of taxation. Or do you think it is the telecommunication companies trying to take advantage of the fact that, policies are reeling left, right, center? I mean, of course, the increase in VAT will affect these companies. The increase in other form of taxations will affect these companies. And they're looking, how do we get back these monies? How do we make back our money? Don't you think that making back the money will mean putting the brunt on the masses, you and me, who uses these technologies? And that is what I've been talking about all this while. Government is not understanding. Government is not aligning themselves with the plight of the people, and that is why probably we are where we are right about now. So, who do you believe in this situation? The telecommunication company or the government? I'm going to open the phone lines right about now. We've got 27 minutes on the clock. 0817 0000951 and 0810 I got about 6-7 topics for you to choose from, and I believe it's going to be a blast. First of all, I talked about the development in Rivers State and how we should diversify the focus of governance in Rivers State to other cities and towns in Rivers State, like in Akwa Ibom and like in Delta State. I also talked about the fact that, you see, I don't even see these, cult activities in these other states like it is in River State. And of course, not too many police roadblocks, or what I call it, checkpoints in these other states like it is in River State. So we're looking at River State in general. And then I moved on to talk about, what did I talk about again next? I talked about, EFCC and SERAP's petition. And then I went ahead to talk about the federal government attempting to borrow some more money. I talked about Ghana saying, you know what, we're going to do away with Nigerian goods. We're not going to patronize them. We're not going to even have them in our markets. We're going to even chase the traders away from Nigeria. Okay, they said that was a rumor, but something similar to that. And of course, we talked about the USSD versus the federal government. And I'm saying, who do we believe? Do we believe the federal government, or do we believe the telecommunication companies? Once again, the numbers are 0817 and 0810 Remember, you can send in your text messages to the number 0701
Hello.
Yes, sir. Good evening to you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good evening. This is Ikedi calling you from Canada.
All right, welcome then.
Yeah, Canada. In your.
Oh, sorry about that. We lost you. Sorry about that. Keep your calls coming in. Thank you very much. I don't know, maybe it's network. I don't know what it is, but we're gonna weather the storm right about now. But if you can make it through the phone lines, you can actually send in your text messages to the number 0701 933 9962. Interesting topics lined up for your listening pleasure. I could go on talking and talking, but you know what? I'm going to give it a room to talk about it, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to air your view. 95.1 FM.
Hello, Kalada, my brother.
I'd be welcome.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you.
Let me first of all start from the development of cities in the state.
All right, go ahead then.
These are the things we are trying, telling people that we should not exonerate any government that is in power. Especially when this administration came into being, it promised us that it's going to create 3 cities, including Port Harcourt. But up to this very moment, we've not seen any city attached to Port Harcourt. And the 100 days of his second tenure has come again. The governor is busy commissioning a project in the Port Harcourt area, in the Query Access. Port Harcourt and Obiakmo. Ahoda is out. A Kalabari area that you said you are going to Abonema area, that area is cut out. So I don't know the kind of government we are in. Then on the area of the closure of the border, I told people that those who never learn economics can never appreciate those who learn economics. You know that Fashola was even telling us that these are application economics. He called them different names.
Yeah.
But look at what is transpiring now. Look at what is happening. You are closing border when you don't know the commodity that the people demand. And you work to actualize the dream of the people. But you just went ahead to close the border. No, Ghana should close their own. Togo, the time has come. Everywhere, close it. Let's see who is going to suffer on this thing.
All right.
So it's very, 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 very absurd. I don't want to hear all this nonsense.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Thank you very much for calling in. Then 95.1 FM.
Yeah, this is Mr. Zion. Good evening to you.
Mr. Zion, welcome.
You see, this country, let me be honest to you, I will tell you categorically clear. Poverty and illiteracy is the problem.
Okay.
And even the people are not even conscious of these errors in their lives. Now look at the comments coming from Ghana. That is very dangerous. What happened? Nigeria rushed and shut down these borders, forgetting that this is ECOWAS. You are doing business with other West African countries, forgetting that you are a member of AU, forgetting that you are talking about a common trade grounds, talking about, my goodness me. Have we forgotten that we are talking about, let us have a common trade ground, let's have a signatory.
All right.
Have you forgotten that?
Yeah, I'm not.
And you are closing down.
There's
your
also
border.
the ECOWAS treaty, there's also the
ECOWAS treaty for us to use one currency, right?
No, for us to have some kind of free movement, like the European Union.
Free trade movement.
Yeah.
And also one currency. There's also one currency.
That one is still being debated. That one is still being argued.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you are saying that you want to run a pipe gas line to Morocco. Where will you pass?
Interesting. Interesting. Nice question. I totally forgot about the gas plant line to Morocco. Yeah.
See, and people will call you, oh, thank you for shutting down the borders. We are just getting $3 billion a day. Oh, it's a very good idea. They don't think. They don't read. And they lack imagination. Ghana will pick up. It is the government of Ghana that is saying this. Oh, it is not the people. Oh, we are just narrowly escaping from xenophobia. Now it is own Ghana phobia. Nigeria, we are in a very big problem.
All right then. Thank you.
See, before I leave the floor, before I leave the floor.
Okay.
Was rice the problem in the borders?
Rice is one of just the issues that I believe.
Rice wasn't even the problem. This our border, you should take note. Other goods are smuggled in on out. If these goods are coming from Morocco, Ghana will benefit.
Okay.
Togo will benefit, which is Lome, right? Before it gets into Nigeria. And if the same goods from Nigeria is living offshores, Togo, Lome will benefit. Ghana will benefit. Sierra Leone will benefit. Morocco will benefit. So why are you shutting down your borders? And you are the one that is talking about a free trade environment. Buhari are just putting us in a very big problem. Right, and those who are devising him, I pity for Nigeria. Mr. Zion.
All right, then. Thank you very much for calling in. 95.1 FM.
Hello.
Good evening. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Chris. Chris, I'm calling from Morocco.
All right, Chris, welcome.
Yeah. Let me to the line of last
Sorry?
knowledge. Let me to the line of the last caller, what he said.
All right, then. All right, then, go ahead. Yeah.
And, this closing of border, it's going to do up harm. Because I was going through my some of the news now. Some countries have started threatening Nigeria. Concerning this, I don't know who is advising federal government on some of the things that they have done or they implement some issue. Look at Nigeria. We don't have any much to satisfy our own. Yeah, we are closing border. Even the pillow that I'm using here is imported from outside country. What are we producing? All these rechargeable lantern we use to call they are bringing it from China for us. No one is manufactured here. Tiger battery, all those things, they are bringing it from outside. So what are you manufacturing? You are close. What of your own products? Is it only yam that we are sorting outside, or the crude oil, or the fuel, something that's making us to feel pompous? We think that we are on top of the world. Look at what is happening now. Many countries are threatening that they will boycott Nigerians. They will boycott some people to come inside their country. Look at what you blockade them. They can ask you people to leave your country.
All right.
Look at what is happening.
All right.
We shouted on what happened to South Africa. We will be able to calm the situation. Now, the thing that we are accusing country that they are doing is what we are doing in the other way, thinking that we are doing. Nothing is this thing is going to do. Look at how much is rice now. You think that we can be able to buy a pint of rice to travel?
All right, then.
That how many years now I'm not able to buy bag of rice. I used to buy like 2 bags of rice, one for my mother, one for the widows in the village. I will share it one thing. Mommy, I heard that what's that, are alive. Take this thing and your children. What am I going to do to all those elderly women, all those widows that used to come and welcome me when I come back from village? What am I going to tell them that I didn't bring rice? I didn't even see the one for my mom.
All right, then.
To see the one that I'm not happy. You people should talk to government. Let them open the border. Let this rice flow. After this December, they can close it. Let them close it. Please.
All right,
people that are closing border, they have enough in their house. They are closing border for the poor people.
All right, then.
I don't like what they are doing in this
All right, then.
country.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling in now. Now I need to remind you that also today, in the news, the Minister for Finance came out and said that the IMF is currently supporting the land borders, and it's saying that that they are expecting that the quality of goods and commodities being circulated into Nigeria should be of great standard and should not should not go against the agreement or the goods and commodities that were agreed upon on the various economic treaties that were signed. Now, my question is, now with all these other governments and economies being affected by the land closure, does this spell good for us or does this spell doom for us? Because they are also now trying to retaliate. They are also now trying to say, you know what, I'm going to close the borders. I'm going to, boycott Nigerian goods, anything Nigerian. We're not going to have it. I mean, first of all, what does this make of big investors like Dangote? Big investors like the Igbo men who have businesses in these other countries. What does it make of businessmen from Nigeria in general who do businesses in these other countries? Will this affect them? What kind of effect will this have? That's the question I'm asking this evening. 95.1 FM.
Let me keep small thing inside.
Oh my, the other callers waiting to call so quickly.
Just a little.
All right, quickly then.
You see, the reason why the IMN is supporting the border close, they've concluded their plan to buy Nigeria. They've already settled. That issue is settled. They've signed their signature to buy the country. Now, Nigeria is going to borrow how much?
$3 billion.
$3 billion. Good. How much is the debt rate in Nigeria debt profile now?
I don't have it in dollars, but in Naira it's 25 point.
And the MIF, they are supporting a border closure.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what these people did during the time of Bangida? When we advised Bangida never to go there. They first of all devalued our Naira. They've come again. See, they will sell Nigeria. Already I know the signature has already signed. And they will sell this country. The literacy in this country is getting out of hand. Is now superseding the one that educated.
All right, then. Thank you very much for calling back in. That's 5.1 FM.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. What's your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Emma and I'm calling you from Aba.
All right, Emma from Aba, welcome.
We're talking about Nigeria borrowing money. Then the question is, what is draining Nigerians' money? Nigeria is getting money. What is draining Nigerian money that is not to borrow? I want to tell you categorically that what is draining Nigerian money
is what?
Subsidy is what is subsidy.
Okay.
You are subsidizing fuel with billions of naira every month. Then you are borrowing money outside. What is that? I'm not an economist, but I can't understand. Now, why can't Nigeria refine? Why can't Nigerians refine petroleum in Nigeria here? That's the question. Only Dangote is building a refinery in Lagos. Pay him, a single man. Why can't federal government build refinery in this country so that we can refine at least what we use? Why? I don't know. Is it because of money, or we can't employ people that we build it? Why are they still importing fuel? That's exactly the problem we're having. The problem we're having is not the importation of rice. The problem, what is affecting the dollar to naira is not the importation of rice. It's subsidy. The billions of naira we're using to subsidize fuel. That is what is draining Nigeria's money.
All right.
Then the other time, Osinbajo came to the Niger Delta and said that they will support Model Refinery because those young men are refining fuel. They are refining crude oil into crude and all the rest. He said we will support them, but they just stopped it because if they encourage those people, those modular refineries can even supply enough fuel for this country to use.
Right.
They shut down and they're shouting right. Now they are closed.
But now I want to ask you a question now. Do you know that if they remove subsidy, it will affect everything that we have in our society? I mean, it will affect the price of rice. It will affect, everything, transportation. Now, if you're paying 100 naira for taxi from point A to point B, it would mean that you'll be paying over 500 naira for taxes because everybody will hike their prices. Are you ready for that?
The point is refine the fuel in Nigeria.
But our refineries are not working. That's what I'm trying to make you understand.
Why is it not working? Why? Tell me, why? Only
because they're not working.
Using a refinery. Single-handedly is giving a refinery, only Dangote. Why can't the federal government of Nigeria, even borrowing the money, you borrow the money and use it and build a refinery? Then within 6 months, you are going to recoup that money.
Okay. Okay.
How much you have invested in subsidy.
Yeah.
It's simple mathematics.
Yeah, simple mathematics.
Simple mathematics. Now close the whole border. People are crying. Some people are saying, close it more, because it's not affecting them. But here in Abaya, we are crying. Others are shouting, close it more, because it's not affecting them. They don't know what people are going through. That's why they are shouting, close it.
Okay, now let me ask you a question. How does it affect you in Aba?
The way it affects us is that the people that are coming in from other countries like Cameroon, Ghana, and all the rest, they are no more coming. So when you
Also, people coming from those places to buy stuff there.
Yes, they come in from all the even Niger. They buy the shoes, they buy the belts, they buy everything. They are no more coming. Then we are not exporting. Then what are you going to do? Even the materials that you are using to do some of this, they are no more coming in.
All right.
We do a lot of things here in Aba, but the materials are not coming in. People are coming and suffering. Some people are shouting, close it tight, but it's not affecting them. Is it fair? Okay.
Thank you very much for calling in there. Wow. All right, keep your calls coming in. We're talking about the USSD initiated by a telecommunication company versus the federal government. We're talking about federal government and World Bank agreeing to, collect another, World Bank agreeing to give the federal government another loan of $3 billion. We're also talking about Serap petitioning the FCC. We talked about Ghana saying, we are done with Nigerian goods since they wouldn't open the borders. And of course, we talked about River State and its infrastructure. 95.1 FM.
Yeah, good evening, Canada.
Hey, good evening to you. What's your name and where you calling from?
My name is Ifeanyi. I'm calling from Ahoda.
Ifeanyi from Ahoda, welcome.
Yeah. I want to react to this issue of electricity. This called the Nigerian government trying to borrow 3 billion naira to fund electricity. I think that is a very sad story to hear. Because I look at the problem of this country is not having any problem. The problem we have is that a section of this country decided that this country should be going this hard time we are passing through. If not, during the 8th assembly, there was this move by a section of the assembly that Nigeria should be restructured. But the group of people came back and said that they were not ready for such a discussion. But then, if you look at it properly, restructuring is the only way out. And then you see the country is restructured. You see that states will be empowered to go into the provision of electricity and some other vital items that will be needed by the people. But the situation where the federal government carries all the responsibilities on their head, and then it's not working, and yet nobody can sit down and say that this is going the wrong path. Then that is the problem of Nigeria. Except with restructure, Nigeria will be worse off in the coming days. I don't see any light coming into this country any longer.
All right,
Nigeria will go down the drain.
No, let's not be pessimistic. But thank you very much for calling in. Thank you very much, there. 95.1 FM.
Good evening, Canada.
Yeah, good evening to you. What's your name and where you calling
from?
Ben
Best calling from Port Harcourt.
Welcome, Dan.
I mean, what is happening in this country is too sad, Canada. Sometimes I wonder why I'm created here, but I don't know.
You're created for solutions, and that's what
I hope that God will open a way for me to get to a position where I can make those solutions.
All right.
Canada, tell me. I think they should even enact new law. If you don't have diploma above, you shouldn't even contest for even chairman, much less to talk of president. I mean, the illiteracy is too obvious. You want to beg people to come and invest in your country?
No, I wouldn't have you insulted.
Sorry, Canada.
But then again, if you're going to go into that angle of the president not being a graduate and all of that.
Sorry.
No. You already went there, but I didn't like the manner in which you expressed it. But if you want to go there, I want to ask you a question. Do you know that the president surrounded himself by professors and graduates, and yet, I mean, still, is it about
temperamentally, Canada, our president is choleric, and choleric find it difficult to take advice to people. I'm choleric myself, so mine the difference is that I educate myself in many things. That's why I will be able to make analysis. The choleric, they are good in making analysis, but this one, if you don't have knowledge to make analysis, you don't have it. And even Paul in the Bible say people are dying for lack of knowledge. Out of borrowing, Bible said a borrower is a slave to the lender. Are they enslaving the country for what? for $3 million. We say a borrower is a slave to the lender. I don't want to be a slave, honestly. God will help us.
All right, then. Thank you very much for calling in there. 95.1 FM.
Hello, Kalanda. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you. What's your name and where you calling
My
from?
name is Cyril. I'm calling you from Masila.
Cyril from Masila, you're welcome.
Yeah. I think we discussed a similar issue. I think that should be 3 days back.
Yeah, I mentioned it.
Yeah. For me, I really want to say, first of all, thank you to you people who are really keeping us abreast with this kind of development. On a standard loan, I suggest we enact a law that will mandate each government or dispensation that comes into power. Anything you borrow, within 4 years before you leave, you pay off. I suggest we do that so that if they want to borrow 10 billion, within 4 years before they leave, let them pay back. So you can't just borrow and leave the next government to come and pay it. No, that's the wrong way. Then on the border closure, this was even what we discussed last 3 days. The consequences, I said it that very day, on Nigeria is going to be very, very unbearable. And these are just signal points. You have had Ghana. If you look at our economy and that of Ghana, we can't compare both. So even if Ghana wants to lock their own border now against Nigeria, they will fare better than us. We are not in any way okay to even compete. So I wonder who is even advising this government, because I remember back in the days we used to have Okonjo Ezekwesili, Olusegun Agangade. I don't know who is. I don't know who makes up this government.
There is an economic advisory. What they call that group again? I think we read it out 2 Saturdays ago. But yeah, they have a team of economists who are advisors to the president and the federal government.
Anyway, Canada, they might have, but those people, I don't know their fees. That's on a lighter note.
Right,
then. The USSD.
Quickly.
To me, that's a scam. The federal government on this issue is a scam on it.
All right,
because the telecommunication, I got the message. They said, based on advice from your bank, we have been instructed to charge you 4 naira per 20 seconds. 4 naira per 20 seconds. So if the federal government is coming out to say, they are not aware of this, for me, before you know what is happening, we have already paid these charges for 4 months.
All right.
Then on River State, talking about the...
No. I've got to let you go. I'm out of time now. Thank you very much for calling in. This one says, good evening, Canada. My name is Temple Ianacho, texting from Igruta, Canada. You see, the only savior we, the Nigerians, have is only our celestial Father, which is God. Sometimes it gets me flabbergasted when I learn that we are borrowing the huge amount of funds mentioned, and after the borrowing, yet we can't feel the effects. Oh, my Creator, lives are in your able hands. So, by the way, the issue of importations and exportations, Nigeria government asks, what is it that you have put in place that you will withstand the quagmire you are going to cause by closing the means of importation? Let Nigeria government think wisely and urgently. I remain Temple Ianacho, texting from Igruta. And that's the much that we can take on the show tonight. I'm sorry that I've been a little bit, when I say draggy, it's been a long day for me, and I'm trying my best to hold forth. But then again, thank you very much for being a part of the show. Thank you very much for your contributions, and I hope that we can reconvene tomorrow by 9 p.m. when Opinion Poll returns. I am Canada. The World News is up next.
Whether it's happening in Port Harcourt, South South, Nigeria, or around the world, we've got you covered. On air, online, delivering balanced news and unbiased analysis. Today, 95.1 FM.
This is Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News.
Good evening. This is the world news at 10 on your premium talk radio today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. I am Kala Dakari, about to board the headlines. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, insists that recommendations to increase sanctions for violators of broadcasting code will be implemented. Advocacy organization SERAP writes anti-graft agencies to investigate sale of job opportunities in federal agencies by senators. Group calls for end to bloodletting and violence in Ogoni area of Rivers State. On the foreign scene, U.S. troops withdraws from troubled northern Syria as deadline in agreement with Turkey draws near. Now the news in details. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has said no amount of sponsored criticisms will stop the recommendations made to increase the fine on media organizations that violate the broadcasting code. Mohammed made this known while briefing newsmen in Abuja. The Minister of Information and Culture said that the committee has been set up to implement the recommendations approved by President Muhammadu Buhari on tackling hate speech and fake news.
No responsible government will sit by and allow fake news and hate speech to rule the airwaves because of the capacity of these menace to exploit our national fault lines to set us against each other and trigger a national conflagration. That is why we will continue to evolve ways to tackle fake news and hate speech until we banish both. Let me be straight. No amount of attacks, sponsored or otherwise, will stop the implementation of the approved recommendations. And only non-patriots and anarchists will kick against measures aimed at putting an end to fake news and hate speech, especially in our broadcast industry. Only those who are guilty should be afraid of the efforts to sanitize the broadcast industry. Responsible broadcasters have nothing to fear. This is not a move to stifle free speech or gag anyone, but purveyors of fake news and hate speech should not expect to sleep easy.
Lai Mohammed called on online publishers to support the national campaign and fight the menace which he claims is getting worse. In the new recommendation, media organizations across all platforms will now be fined 5 million naira if found to have violated the code, especially as it concerns fake news. The federal government has opposed the move of telecommunication companies to increase charges on use of unstructured supplementary service data (USSD) channels to access banking services. Some telecommunications network service providers that send notices to their subscribers that with effect from Monday, USSD will attract extra charges. But the Federal Ministry of Communications in a statement said they are unaware of the development. Spokesperson of the ministry, Uwa Suleiman, said that the Honorable Minister of Communications, Issa Pantami, has directed the sector regulator, the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, to ensure that telecos suspend such plans until clarifications are made. The Central Bank of Nigeria also opposed plans by MTN to charge their subscribers for unstructured supplementary service data access to banking services. The governor of CBN, Gordon Emefiele, told newsmen in Washington that banks have been asked to move their traffic to a telecom company that is ready to provide them with a platform at the lowest possible, if not at zero cost. Before sending the notice, telcos charge customers per USSD session, but this differed across networks, with the highest being 20 naira per session. The new charge would have seen customers paying 12 naira for every minute spent on the USSD channel. The federal government has said the World Bank has agreed to give Nigeria a $3 billion loan for the expansion of the transmission and distribution facilities of the power sector. Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed made this known while addressing newsmen while speaking on the activities of Nigeria at the annual meetings of the International Monetary Fund (IMF) and World Bank Group in Washington. The finance minister said the loan is to be used for reforming the nation's power sector, adding that it would be disbursed in 4 tranches of $750 million each beginning from April 2020. Zainab Ahmed also said the loan would cover the funding gap as well as the current tariff, which investors in the sector have described as very low compared to what is obtainable in other countries. Meanwhile, senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, has asked the National Assembly to work with anti-graft agency for the recovery of $103.7 billion lost on oil sale. Falana, in a letter to Senate President Ahmed Lawan, said if Nigeria can recover the money lost to oil sale, there would be no need to seek foreign loans. He added that Nigeria lost a larger part of the proceeds from oil as a result of non-implementation of the Deep Offshore and Inland Basin Production Contract Act. The senior advocate said he had raised the alarm that both government and international oil companies in the country failed to stick to the agreement for an upward review of loyalties whenever crude oil was sold beyond $20 per barrel in the international markets. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission have been asked to jointly carry out a prompt, thorough, transparent, and effective investigation into allegations that principal officers and members of the Nigerian Senate are using their official positions to get job slots from government agencies. The call was made by the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, in a petition signed by its Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare. SERAP also urged the anti-corruption agencies to probe allegations that some ministries, departments, and agencies are selling their employment slots at their disposal, with a single slot being allegedly sold for as much as 1.5 million naira. The letter, which was copied to the chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee Against Corruption, Ise Sage, said the investigation would show the willingness of EFCC and ICPC to proactively exert their mandates and act as a deterrent against breaches of Nigeria's constitution, anti-corruption legislation, and international standards. In another development, as the artillery bombardment and ground assault by troops of the Nigerian Army intensify across Operation Lafayette Dole Theater, the military says more Boko Haram casualties have been recorded. The Nigerian Army in the statement says, in a clear case that can be best described as a tactical boomerang, some marauding Boko Haram criminals elements who were escaping the unbearable battle heat met their Waterloo as one of their vehicles stepped on an improvised explosive device laid by them at Lambas Forest along Jakana Minok Road in Borno State. Media coordinator of the Nigerian Army Operations, Colonel Aminu Ileyasu, in the statement said the self-inflicted destruction consumed 7 Boko Haram criminals, while 8 others suffered severe injuries. The statement added that troops have mobilized to the general area for route clearance and mop-up operation. Meanwhile, reports say at least 4 Nigerian soldiers and a militia fighter were killed in clashes with ISIL-aligned insurgents groups in Borno State. Security sources told international media AFP that fighting erupted when troops ambushed a convoy at the Islamic State's West African province near Jakana village, Borno State. The source, which begged anonymity, said the terrorists came in large numbers and Nigerian troops fought gallantly, but they were overwhelmed. The Christian community in Ogoni have been called to intervene in the violent attacks ravaging communities in the area. National Coordinator of the Conscience of Ogoni, Chief Gani Toba, who made a plea, noted that religious intervention could be the major means of arresting the situation of gang wars and restore peace in Ogoni.
We are moving from community to community after Darko, where there was crisis, to use the church to bring peace to our land. But outside that, we have declared to do classes because all the communities in Ogoni who are having challenges. Now, if you compare them to other communities that was in the house, those children have been going to school. So that's why we want to do classes in all the communities, not just that Darko, so that our children can cope up to meet up all the comparison that we want.
On the disarmament in Kana local government area of River State, Chief Toba called on coal members who are yet to submit their arms to do so without delay and end all forms of bloodletting in Ogoni communities.
We have appealed to all the courts and we pray all the courts have started to surrender their gun, and we hope that there will be total peace in Ogoni land and in Nigeria and in River State. It's not about empowerment. If you anchor of empowerment, you will also fail. So that is the only reason is give your life to Christ. If you give your life to Christ, you will know that to take any soul is bad. So you don't need to carry gun. There are still guns in the hands of some. So with this is appeal that those that are not submitted should submit. I also know that what they can do and sustain the peace is those that submitted their gun should not give their life to Christ. Who are the people you are killing? You're killing your brothers. Cain stated clear in his struggle that I do not want any blood of any Ogoni man to drop, neither strangers whom live among us.
It would interest you to know Ogoni people are the worst hit in the recent violent attacks by rival cult groups, leading to loss of several lives and destruction of properties. You're listening to the World News on Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People. After the break, more news, foreign and sports stories. Stay tuned.
Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
95.1 FM, Voice of the People.
And we're back. And you're still listening to the World News on Today 95.1 FM. Welcome back now to the rest of the news. The people of Alapolo and Alasama communities in Tourist Beach of Borokiri in the old Port Harcourt Township have expressed gladness over the reopening of a mini police station in the area. Those who spoke with our correspondent said the reopening of a police post in the area will enhance more peace and development in the area. The respondent said the presence of the police station will further improve existing peace in the communities.
It will certainly affect the entire economy of the place, because where there is no security, no development, and that is why we have been clamoring, and we thank God it has been reopened.
I feel very much happy because for the police to come and stay in my community, we are safe and secure more than other communities. It will really do them good because as the police post is here, it means their stores and them in person is secured. So I think it's very much okay.
We are very happy, very, very happy because we have been clamoring for the reopening of the police post. One, for security purpose. Even the presence of the security of the police post can even scare away some miscreants and all the rest. So we needed it so badly.
The removed Deputy Governor of Kogi State, Simon Achiba, has described this impeachment by the Kogi State House of Assembly as an act of wickedness. Achiba said this in reaction to his impeachment last week, which the opposition, People's Democratic Party, alleged was done in violation of the Constitution. He said it is important for the federal government and members of the public to condemn what he described as lawlessness in Kogi State.
What they have done is completely illegal. It is a shame and an insult on the people of Kogi State and the entire nation in general. And I think that if our democracy is worth growing, this state, the entire nation must rise to the occasion to ensure that this lawlessness, as it is being done in Kogi State, is stopped at all costs.
Achiba was impeached following the submission of a report of the committee set up by the Chief Judge of Kogi State, Justice Nasser Ajana, to investigate an allegation of gross misconduct against the former Deputy Governor. It will interest you to know that the removed Deputy Governor, Achiba, had raised an alarm of an alleged threat to his life and accused Yahya Bello of intolerance of contrary views. On the foreign scene, Algeria's defense ministry has said that the Algerian army destroyed 5 terrorist shelters in the provinces of Batna and Skikida. The defense ministry, in a statement, said that in the framework of the fight against terrorism, the army discovered and destroyed 5 shelters belonging for terrorists in search operations carried out in the province of Batna and Skikda, located in east of capital Algiers, respectively. The security situation in Algeria has remarkably improved in the last decade, but clashes between security forces and terrorist groups are still occasionally reported. Algeria has also deployed tens of thousands of troops on the southern and eastern borders in a bid to thwart the inflow of terrorists and arms amid instability in neighboring Mali and Libya. U.S. forces withdrew from a key base in northern Syria 2 days before the end of a truce brokered by the U.S. to stem a Turkish attack on Kurdish forces in the region. AFP reports that more than 70 U.S. armored vehicles escorted by helicopters drove past the town of Tal Tam carrying military equipment. The Syrian Observatory for the Human Rights said the convoy was evacuating the military base of Sarin. Turkey launched a border incursion into Syria on October 9 after President Donald Trump said he would pull back U.S. special forces in the Kurdish-held north. Turkey has given the Syrian Democratic Forces the de facto army of the Kurdish authorities in northeastern Syria until Tuesday evening to withdraw from the strip of Syrian land along its southern border. To end the news, here's a summary of the major stories. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has insisted that the recommendations to increase sanctions and fines for violators of the Broadcasting Code will be implemented. An advocacy organization, SERAP, has written the anti-graft to investigate the sale of job opportunities in federal agencies by senators. We also told you that a group has called for an end to the bloodletting and violence in Ogoni area of River State. On the foreign scene, you heard that U.S. troops are beginning to withdraw from troubled northern Syria as deadline for the truce reached with Turkey draws near. That was the news. As detailed by Victor Eziama. For comments and enquiries, please call 0815-341-8657 or 0814-434-3502 or send your emails to news@todayfmlive.com. You can also read our stories on www.todayfmlive.com. I am Kala Dakari Batabo. Thank you for listening and stay tuned to Today 95.1 FM.
Talk radio. I listen to a lot of talk radio.
95.1 FM.
Every day on Today 95.1 FM, there's always an opportunity to comment and air your views on our various programs. It's not just about us, it's about you, your opinion, and your voice.
President, don't you think that it's time to step down, sir?
Be part of the story, the gist, reactions, intrigues, and the news.
President Neil Patrick Harris has called for greater regulation.
Give us a feedback or join the conversation on Twitter at TodayFM951. Our Facebook address is Today95.1 FM or join us on the number 0701-933-9962. That's our WhatsApp application. Be informed, be educated, and have fun. We are Today 95.1 FM, voice of the people.
An English author and philosopher says, "Reading maketh a full man, and writing an exact man." Writing tells truth to power and bears witness to our growth as individuals and as a society. Writing creates a place, a space, another world for others to experience. The hallmarks of human civilization. Reading and writing. Nation building is too urgent to be left solely in the hands of politicians alone. Viewed as a whole, reading and writing depicts the rich tapestry that is the people, culture, traditions, politics, and history of Nigeria. We at Today 95.1 FM believe that the reading culture must be encouraged among the young and old. The work of nation building is not yet done. It is an ongoing